We'll get started, okay. Oh, great. We'll get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Ricardo. I'm co-founder and CPTO at Stake, and we reserved this webinar to talk about our new exit window. And I'm accompanied, sorry. And we're going to walk you through how does the window work, and I'm accompanied by my colleagues Finn and Saran that will also talk about the window and demo the product. Then at the end we're going to have Q&A. If you have any questions, hold until then, and we will be happy to answer. Like I said, Finn, just to describe who we are. So I look after product and technology here at Stake. Finn is my right-hand man at product, head of product. He's walking you through today over the webinar basics and how the seller and the buy side work. And Saran, our exit window product manager, will walk you through a live demo so you can see how everything works using the app. Great. Before we go into the basics of liquidity at Stake, I would like to talk a bit about Stake itself, going back to the basics and talking a bit about the asset class and how we position ourselves and why do we exist. As you know, real estate is the most popular asset class in the world, and we position ourselves as disruptors in this industry. Traditionally, if you want to invest in real estate, you would have to you'd have very limited access. You need to focus your investment in a large purchase, and typically people would invest in one or two assets in terms of positioning their capital. We come with a very different innovative solution, which is digitizing the investment in real estate and fractionalizing it. By providing our Stake technology stack, not only we allow you to invest and getting a piece of the action, investing from 500 dirhams into real estate today in Dubai, but later on as we evolve into other geographical regions. We make the process super easy to do, so you can sign up and own a piece of real estate in less than 10 minutes. And by providing you the accessibility to do so, you can diversify your purchases into different properties and therefore diversifying your investment strategy. We try to make that in the most transparent way. And we try to provide you as much information about the assets themselves and how they perform over time. We believe that you are in the driving seat, so you can define your strategy, how you're going to pick and choose your assets, and the best judgment for that. And ultimately, all this needs to be accompanied with some possibility to liquidate your assets. We believe that real estate is a long-term asset class, so we believe that anyone that invests in real estate should hold anywhere between 3 and 5 years, given that is how long it takes to the assets to appreciate significantly. You realize a good return. But we also offer, as you know, in this occasion, a possibility to liquidate your assets from time to time. We do it twice a year, so Finn will explain all of that. But this is an important part, and this is what the webinar is all about. So just to recap why we have built Stake, we want to empower everyone in the world to build wealth through real estate. That is the oldest asset. We say that it's the oldest asset class in the world, but has a big barrier of entry, which is normally you'd have to have a large amount of capital to invest in this asset class. With Stake, you don't need that large amount of capital. You can invest from 500 dirhams or $136. You can invest in a very, very easy way through our mobile app or through our website. And like I described, it's very easy to diversify. Please check out our app if you haven't done so. We're going to share a QR code at the end. Also, tell you a bit about our trajectory to date. We are the leading real estate platform in the region, in the Middle East. We've been featured in many publications and magazines, and we have built a brand and a presence and the trust from our dear investors. And we allow people from all over the world to invest in this asset class via our technology. To date, we have close to 400,000 registered users. We have done over 200 million in property transactions, dirhams, and we have distributed close to 8 million dirhams in dividends. The value of our properties listed in the platform continues to grow at a significant pace as our growth accelerates as well. If you have any questions about us in particular as a company, please use the chat at the end. Without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Finn, and Finn is going to explain what is an exit window, so what have I been talking about, and he's going to refresh even for existing investors, how does it work? Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm going to dive into a little bit of a refresher on what an exit window is, as well as why we think this was an important feature to build and iterate on before Saran takes us into a deeper dive into V2 and what's changed this time around. So yeah, just to kick off the refresh, let's go to the next slide. Yeah, so liquidity is something that's in the founding mission at stake. It's one of our, what we call our 4 pillars. So we are very determined to make real estate digital, real estate investing digital. We're very determined to make it borderless, and that's something that we're going to go into more details on a different day with our KSA expansion and other markets that we're looking at. And the third pillar that's super important to us from day one is liquidity. So how do we redefine real estate investing, and how do we solve this very well-known and prominent problem of liquidity in the asset class? This is also very kind of front and center to us as a product team from day one. We obviously spend a lot of our day speaking with users, kind of deep in our feedback channels and understanding what people want to see from our product and where they want to see Stake evolve towards as a business. And for us, before May of this year, it was just predominantly and overwhelmingly about liquidity. And, you know, we do see real estate investing as a long-term hold. It is better, you know, due to the transaction costs and the nature of the investment. It's not something that spikes up and down on a daily basis like crypto or equities in some sense. So it is something that people, you know, we want to encourage people to buy, to hold, and to really enjoy that passive income. But we do understand that you need to be able to see a route to liquidity. We want to offer multiple options for liquidity. And of course, there is other situations as well where people just need to get out of an investment. So we want to make sure that we offer all options on our platform. This is, like I said, an iterative journey. So we don't see liquidity as something that's, you know, one and done just because we did one exit window. This is something that's going to evolve every time we do an exit window towards our eventual vision, which is a kind of fully digital process, both online on the product, but also behind the scenes in the back end, and also something that's kind of open more often. So Saran will take you through how we've improved in V2, and you guys as our kind of valued investors and clients will start to see every time we do these windows that we're kind of iterating towards a better and better experience. So what does the problem look like today? If you think about traditional real estate, physical assets in general are not quickly convertible into cash. They're illiquid. It's a very time-consuming selling process. It's also very operational. It's time-consuming, not just in that it takes a long time, but also takes a lot of your specific time. There's fewer buyers in the market during periods of uncertainty, and there's definitely a lack of transparent price. So what's our goal at Stake, and how are we solving for that? So our sellers get cash for their investments if they need to free up funds for other purposes. So we do call this a kind of emergency liquidity lever. It's something that the vast majority, I think more than 85% of our investors don't kind of come on and use the selling feature, but it is something that we felt determined to give a second option for liquidity apart from full exits, which we have done and are doing in the process of doing at the moment. We wanted to give sellers the opportunity to kind of get cash from their investments on a more ad hoc basis and exit the investment themselves. We also offer a selling and buying experience that's optimized for time. So again, it's similar to the investing process at stake. It's all just within minutes and the click of a button, you're able to list your properties, and depending on kind of market demand and liquidity at the time and the discount that you offer, that selling process can be over very, very quickly. Investors are empowered to explore secondary listings from previously funded properties. So we do have a lot of our new clients who would see some of the funded properties from the past and be interested in investing into those. But even more so, we see people who have invested into a property that they've become attached to or is doing particularly well as an investment. All of our properties perform differently, and the best way to do so, or to kind of get good returns, is to definitely diversify and kind of have a larger portfolio. That's kind of natural in investing, but also there's definitely ones that our investors become particularly attached to, and they just want to be able to kind of buy more into. Again, Saran will dive a little bit deeper how we've made that easier to kind of invest more into one of your properties, and he'll take you through that when we cover the portfolio later. And then finally, our secondary listings are valued by an independent third party. So we're heavily regulated. That is also kind of part of the value proposition that we offer. Secondary markets for real estate are notoriously difficult. There's a lot of companies similar to Stake around the world that are trying to tackle this problem. We've spoken to many of them in Europe and the US, and nobody's quite managed to crack the prospect of how do you operate a secondary market or an exit window for real estate while being a regulated entity and not on the blockchain. So this is something that we've been able to do through very reputable partnerships. And one of those is having these independent third-party partners that are kind of vetted by government entities to make sure that what we list, everything that you kind of sell at, is priced accurately and fair and aligns with the market value at the time. Okay, moving on to, so this is why we built the first exit window in order to bring flexibility and liquidity to our investors around the world. Again, people can invest in Stake from anywhere in the world, and we have investors from Canada to Australia and everywhere in between. Here's a little bit of a refresher on the mechanic of the exit window. So we do offer these opportunities biannually in May and November every year. We open our windows on the first Tuesday. We call it Trading Tuesday, the first week of May and November every year. And the exit windows are open for 2 weeks. And the reason for this is because there's a heavily operational processes of transferring ownership in the SPVs in the back end. So this is, again, something that for now is biannual, but we'll look to do so at a more frequent basis as we digitize the operational side of this mechanism. But for now, it's a 2-week period biannually where you can trade shares. In terms of eligibility, buyers must have at least one funded investment. So I'll go back again to us being kind of highly regulated. That means that we can only offer this feature to our existing clients. And that means that only investors or clients of ours that actually have at least one fully funded investment can participate in the exit window and buy existing funded properties at a discount. On the seller side, we do again believe that this is kind of an emergency liquidity lever. We believe that real estate is a long-term investment, and that the best way for us to make money for our investors is to encourage them to hold for a longer period of time. And as we commonly recommend, that's usually around 5 years. So we do have this kind of stop in place, which is that sellers must have held the investment for at least 1 year before they're eligible to list them for sale in the exit window. Just to go over some of the data from our last window, and at the end of this presentation, we'll talk you guys through how it's gone today in our second window. But looking back to May 2023, we had 28 listings that were eligible. Those were the properties that had been actively funded for over a year when we opened the window in May. We saw over 2 million dirhams in transaction volume, which we were very happy about. We saw over 1,500 transactions. I would say the liquidity is the one that we were really excited about, because this is one that we were potentially preparing for. How do we kind of iteratively move up the liquidity over time? And we weren't expecting to be able to start from 50%. We want to have a very liquid market. We are working on, and we do hold ourselves accountable to making it more and more liquid at every iteration. And having that 50% liquidity, where 50% of the people who wanted to sell were able to sell, is a great starting point for us. And it's a better position than we thought we'd be in. So those are the results from the first window. For every one seller, there were 7 buyers, showing that there was a lot more activity and demand on the buy side than there was the sell side. The average time for a seller to complete a sale is 22 hours, which I'm pretty sure if you list your property for sale, you're going to take a lot longer than 22 hours to be able to kind of have that transaction completed. And also nearly 85% of eligible sellers retain their position. So again, like I said early on, we only had about 15% of people actually look to use this feature, and we do still, as much as we're proud to offer this service, we do encourage users to continue to hold their investments, continue to hold it for the long term, and really make that passive income. So yeah, nearly 85% of eligible sellers retain their positions in our first window. Just 2 more slides before we move on to the demo. So just to say exactly what the value proposition is for both sides, we believe that both buyers and sellers benefit from the experience in the exit window. We love to hear your feedback. We did a lot of surveys and user interviews after the first window, so do reach out to us. Do let us know how you think we can improve the experience for either side. The way we see it at the moment is that as a buyer, you can invest at up to 20% discount of below market value. So it's a great opportunity to get real estate at a good price. You can access properties with higher return potential. So again, if you buy at a discount, there's obviously a higher ROI and a higher net yield on those properties. And you have the opportunity to invest in 50 plus, this time around 50 plus, and future even more previously funded properties on our platform. So that's for the buyer side. Moving on to the seller side, again, we see benefits for both sides. On the seller side, you can realize capital appreciation. The market in Dubai has done phenomenally well for the last 2 to 3 years since we've been in operation. So it's a good chance for people to kind of take profit on some of their investments, to reinvest it into maybe some of our newer projects as well. Again, like I mentioned, we have KSA coming up. We also have a few other projects in the pipeline that we can't speak so publicly about yet, but there's going to be a lot of opportunities to spread your investments across the platform. You can free up funds. So like I always said, it's an emergency liquidity lever. So you can free up funds when you need it and get cash for your investment. And really, it just gives flexibility. Liquidity is a problem in the asset class, and we're giving you the option to list at current market value or up to 20% discount, which would be a flash sale. It would go in a heartbeat. But you can also list at 5, 10, 15%. We see a lot of liquidity at 10% discount. So it really gives you the kind of flexibility to choose how quickly you want to exit, how much certainty you want on that exit. And yeah, it gives you the flexibility to be able to exit when you need it. Okay, I'm going to pass over to Saran. So Saran is our guru on the exit window. He really owns this feature, this service, this experience. And he's going to take us through what's changed in V2.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Let me share my demo device here. All right, so here I have the Stake app open, and I'm kind of going to walk you through both the buying and selling side experience of our exit windows. First and foremost, if you haven't updated our app already, I would highly recommend to do so you have all the latest features available on your device. So I've logged in as a user, and I'm going to go ahead and first look at the sell side experience. So this is the home properties page of the app, and here we have a clear banner indicating when the exit window is open, along with the time left for the window. And this is where you kind of go to buy secondary listings. We'll kind of look at that at a later point. So I am going to first navigate to portfolio. That's kind of where you manage all your investments and view how your portfolio is performing. So in specific, this user has a portfolio value for around 42,023 dirhams. And we have this new element that we call the quick action buttons. And to the far right, we have the sell button with the open indicator. So that's what we have called the exit window kind of widget screen. Yeah, and then your kind of standard portfolio. So I'm going to go ahead and click the sell button on the quick actions. And this is the new enhanced exit window widget screen. The idea of this screen is to become like a navigational hub and give you all the information you need about exit windows. So you have the timer on when the window opens and when the window closes, as well as navigational cards to both buying and selling, and an FAQ link where you can browse through the most frequently asked questions and get your answers instantly. So again, for the purpose for now, we're going to go ahead and create a sell listing. So I'm going to click the sell your stakes button. We have a brief educational screen, again, just highlighting the value propositions that Finn just walked us through. And you can just proceed beyond the screen. And again, now the experience is much more integrated into your portfolio. With the first window, we just wanted to get the feature right, get it functionally working, and get that opportunity available to you. But now we're really focused on enhancing the experience even further and making it more refined. So it is much more integrated into the portfolio, and you can feel that right from everything we've built in this new experience. So on this screen, this is your My Stakes list, where you can filter through all your stakes. So we have a new filter called Eligible for Exit. This will basically filter all your stakes that you are allowed to sell, or that you're eligible to sell in this particular window. So for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to go ahead and choose the studio and the address to buy mall. So clicking on, of course, the stake card gets you to your investment details. So here I can see I currently have an investment value of around 13,500 dirhams. I've received a good amount of rent. And then on the bottom, when the window's open, we have this footer for exit windows with both sell and buy buttons. So the idea is that not only can you use the exit window to sell, but you can also use it as a great opportunity to maybe average down your cost or add more to position that you already have. And that's one of a great use case that we see users use exit windows for. So I'm going to go ahead and click the sell button. And this is where I can select the amount of shares that I'd like to sell. So, for this purpose, I'm really just looking for some liquidity to maybe diversify and find other investment opportunities. So I don't want to exit my full position. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose, let's say, 5,000 shares. And that'll get me a good amount for my strategy. So scrolling down, I can see the current share price. So this is based off the latest valuation of the property. And that, again, as mentioned before, is based on third-party valuators that we use. And I can see that I have a return of investment of around 38.9%. So I might actually add a 5% discount because I think I'm comfortable with taking that with a little more certainty of getting a sale. And I can see the total payout for around 5,700 dirhams. And we have some exit fees and VAT on top of the sale amount, which is part of our selling strategy. So let's confirm the listing. We agree the terms and conditions, the key risks, and the listing is live. So at this point, we're basically letting you see the timeline of what happens next. So once the shares are listed for sale, of course, you are going to be looking for a buyer to buy those shares. And we'll kind of look at how you can kind of track how your listing's performing in a brief moment. And after that, what happens is once the sales have been confirmed, we actually take care of the manual share transfer process, which is done offline from our end. And once that legal transfer is complete and you're officially the shareholder, that's when you then start receiving the rent, which is estimated to be January 25th of 2024. So I'm going to go back to portfolio. And now I'm going to show you how you can kind of see and manage your listings. So again, if you click the sell button on the far right and click actions, we go to the exit window widget screen, and now we have a button saying view your listings. This is where you can kind of go to track all the properties you've listed along with the listings you've created. So here I can see that I've listed 5,000 shares in the address to buy mall. And since I've just made the listing, there's 0% shares sold. But of course, when you come in here, when you have some buys, not only will you get an email, you can always come into the app and track the status that way. And when you click this, you get additional details. And the idea behind this is, again, give you full control, full visibility into where your sell listing is in the process, how many shares have sold. If you want to cancel your listing, you want to track your listing, create more listings, it's completely up to you. So on this screen, also, you can see the potential payout. This basically lets you know the amount you will get if all your shares were to sell. And then you have subsequently pending payout, which is once the shares sell, what is the amount you will receive. So we'll kind of look at this again once we create a buy transaction. We'll kind of log in and look back at this screen and see how that changes when we do a buy. So I'm just going to quickly log in as a buyer and go through the buying journey.
Great, thanks, Saran. So Saran is gonna just now focus on the buying journey. And I'll just a reminder, I know that some questions are coming in. We're gonna try to find time to answer some of those at the end after the demo, okay? Thank you. I'll hand over back to Saran.
Awesome. All right, cool. So I've now logged in as a buyer. And again, this is the home property screen, home properties page of the app. So as a buyer, if I'm looking for secondary listings, we have a very clear button here saying view secondary listings. And again, we have an educational screen. The idea is to just make you informed about what buying means and what selling means. So you can, once you're aware of this, you can proceed straight into the listing screens. So right now we just created that one listing that is visible here. If you log into the app now, you'll see a lot more listings available, and you can scroll through the list and choose a property you like. We have also added a highly requested feature, which is a sorting functionality, and that allows you to sort by discount high to low or shares available low to high. And the idea is, again, just to give you that power and capability to make it super efficient for you to find the right investment opportunity for yourself. So, of course, this is one entry point into the buying. You can also go to the sell button through portfolio and click buy, or likewise go to a property you already own and click the buy button in the investment details page. So clicking into the property card will get us to the property details. The property details, you can learn a lot more, just like our regular available listings that we offer. You can find a lot more detail, the current valuation, the number of investors, excuse me, the funded date, and the return metrics. You can see the location, the current rent, and then you see the available share prices. Now, again, we just have one listing here, but on the app, if you were to select the property, depending on what share price is available, you will see the different share prices here, and you can actually compare what that discount really means to you as a buyer. So in this case, we added a 5% discount on the selling side. So as a buyer, I can see how that translates to a higher annualized return and a higher net yield, giving me a better investment opportunity. Again, you can invest from a minimum of one share to the maximum available for a particular share price, and that's important to note because if you want to, let's say there's 5,000 shares available here, I can buy a maximum of 5,000, but I can also just buy one share. So you can see the yield and annualized ROI here again. So I'm just going to choose the share price and click buy shares. All right. So this is a screen where I'll enter the number of shares I'd like to buy. So I'm kind of interested only in 2,000 shares. I think that should be around like 2,460 dirhams. Yep. So I'm going to choose that, and there's only one share price available. So I'm going to go with the 1.23. I'm going to click review order, agree to the terms. And then I am on the review screen now. So the review screen, again, you can just confirm all the details and, just make sure you're making the right investment. So we have the studio and address, investment amount, 2,460 dirhams, 2,000 shares at a share price of 1.2380. And the discount that I'm buying at is 5%. So I've already preloaded my wallet on with an amount that I can cover this purchase with. And I can see that I will also receive 25 dirhams cash back towards this investment. And I'm going to go ahead and click place order. And just like that, the investment's done. So it's super simple and straightforward. And it's just as quick and easy as our primary investments. So if we now go ahead and let's see how this looks on our portfolio. Okay, so if I scroll down to my portfolio now, I can see the studio and address to buy mall with the 2,460 dirhams with a status of share transfer pending. Again, we added this in a recent update where we have added property statuses, and that's just to give you that visibility into where your investment is in the process of being available in your portfolio. So in this particular state, it's share transfer pending. When you click in, you can see the funding timeline as well. On the buying side, your funding timeline will let you know when the share transfer takes place and when you will receive that first rental payment. And if I click the investment value here, you can see the history of your transaction, which is the secondary investment of 7th of November. for 2,460 dirhams. So now I'm actually going to quickly log in back as the seller and show you how you can track and what this looks like on the selling side once you have someone buy some shares.
Okay, thanks, Saran. Okay, let's just give Saran 30 seconds. I can see some questions are also already coming in. Please feel free, if any of you have more questions, feel free to submit them so we can then try to answer as many as we can. Thank you.
All right, going to share my screen. Great, so I've now logged in back as the same seller that I just created a listing with, and I'm going to navigate to portfolio. Now we looked at, way to look at the listings through the exit window widget screen, but I'd also like to show you how you can see it directly from your portfolio. So if I scroll down to my portfolio, let's click view all my stakes since I have 15 stakes. I'm going to select the eligible for exit filter. I'm going to scroll down to the studio and adjust the buy mall for which I created a listing. And on this screen, I can again see the shares listed component. So if I click that, it'll take me to the listing screen. And now here I can see that there were, 2,000 shares sold. And there's 3,000 still left to be sold based on my active listing and what the pending payout looks like and what, again, the potential payout is once all the shares are being sold. So again, that's kind of, and if of course, if you want to cancel your listing, you can actually select the listing within the screen and choose to cancel even after you have some shares sold. So again, you have full control, full visibility throughout, and it's really just giving you control over your investment and allowing you the opportunity to exit and track your portfolio in a better way. So that kind of sums it up. But again, if you have any questions about the experience, any feedback, I'd love to hear from you. So, absolutely feel free to reach out, and we value your feedback quite a lot. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Saran. I'm gonna present back our slide deck, which I need to find where it is. Sorry. Sorry. Okay, I'm just gonna scroll. Okay, great. Okay, I look at it. Sorry. Apologies for the delay. Okay, great. Sharing again. Okay, great. So back here. So you might be asking, how is the second exit window going? So as you know, as more and more properties got eligible compared to the first window, we are very happy to see an additional volume in this window. To be honest, it beat all our expectation. The window opened at midnight. Thank you for all of you. So at least some of you that were awake and transacting on the window was very astonishing to see the first few hours of trading. We are now, it's now 7 p.m. So it has been 19 hours of trading already. And we have seen 1.5 million transacted overall. So more than close to double of what we transacted on the first window. We see a healthy, but still early to see liquidity ratio of close to 50%, very similar to the first window. And there's a lot of variety, more than ever. So we never listed that this many properties live. So not only we have the properties that we're currently funding for the first time, but you have a set of options that is very diverse now in the platform. So I would like to invite you, for those that haven't visited, to check out Stake today and see what's available to trade. Great. I would like to introduce our colleague here that has been in the background organizing all of this, which is Haya. She will be facilitating the Q&A, which is what comes next. So if you have any questions, please use the Q&A box to ask questions, and Haya will be selecting a few questions for us so we can answer.
Thank you, Ricardo. Hello, everyone. So we have about 19-ish questions to go through, but most of them are somewhat the same. So a lot of you asked what a discount means. So I'm going to pass that on to Saran, actually. Can you please let us know what it means to buy at a discount?
Yes, absolutely. So when you want to create a sell listing, we have something called current share price. The current share price is calculated based on the latest valuation of the particular property that you own. And what discount really means is selling at a price that's lower than the current share price or the current market value of that particular asset. And the purpose for that is to give you that option and those levels to choose your preference if you really want an urgent exit from your investment, or depending on the strategy, what kind of exit you're looking for, to choose different discount levels that are available. And again, the higher the discount, the more likely you are to find a buyer, and the sooner, the faster you are likely to find a buyer. But then again, we see liquidity at all levels of discounts, even at 0% discount. So it's really up to your individual strategy to choose, what discount percentage you like. But the mechanic is that it's based off the current share price, which is based off the latest valuation of the property that was just done prior to the window.
Thank you for answering that last part, actually, because Badr asked, is the discount offered from the original cost or from the most recent valuation? So we can confirm that it's the latter.
Correct, yes.
Great. This is probably interesting. If I want to sell 5,000 shares as a block and not as individual shares, how do I do that?
Yeah, I can take that. So just to explain a bit more the market mechanics behind the scenes, when you submit your shares to be sold, they are submitted in a block. Indeed, that block you are attaching either 0% discount or any of the levels of discount. What we are doing behind the scenes is that block of shares can be bought by now many buyers. In the limit, if we are talking about 5,000 shares, potentially those 5,000 shares could be bought by 5,000 people as well, because each person can buy a minimum of one share. What typically we see is for larger blocks, we have multiple buyers buying portions of that block. And the way just to be transparent, the way we are prioritizing that is on the first come, first service basis. So shares within the same property, within the same level of discount, we are prioritizing allocation for those that submit first. Of course, don't forget that this is a very dynamic environment, because sellers can at any point in time cancel their listings, and therefore, let's say, moving down the queue to the bottom of the queue if you want to submit again. But this is an important piece of information. But at the moment, we don't allow people or buyers, let's say, we don't allow sellers to guarantee that they will sell a whole block. They will submit the share lot to be sold, and that share lot will be taken up for one or two or more buyers or n buyers. I hope this answers the question.
Okay. Someone asked, can I buy a discounted property and sell it immediately?
No. So if you buy a property at a discount during an exit window, the share transfer has not been completed yet. So just to answer another question in there, one of the questions was around rent. So if you buy a secondary listing today in November, once the exit window closes, we will then go through the back end and offline processes of transferring the share ownership in the SPV via our partners like the DFC, the DFSA and the DIFC. So once the share transfer is completed, then you will start receiving rent. So the reason that we've kind of pushed back the timelines this time around is because we realized that the manual process does take a little bit longer than we thought. So rent will only be paid when you actually own the property legally, which takes about 6 weeks. So from January 2024, any investments that you make in the exit window will pay rent. And because that ownership is not transferred until 6 weeks after the window closes, you can't then resell the property in the same window because you don't own it yet, but you can in the following window. So then by May 2024, you can resell the property. But to be honest, it's not a strategy that we advise. Again, we're kind of more supporting people building wealth through real estate, building passive income streams and a second income through real estate. So I don't think there's much benefit to doing that, but you are free to do that and sell once you're the legal owner of the property, which is when the next exit window comes up.
Great. Thanks, Finn. While I have you, actually, can you answer this next question? What's the compliance or the background paperwork that supports each operation? What is fulfilled in terms of ownership officials and credentials?
Yeah, extremely important and something that we're trying more and more to go, let's say, above the line with and communicate more clearly. Trust and safety is critical to any fintech app, and we do have a lot of weight behind us in the trust and safety front. We are highly regulated by the Dubai Financial Services Authority. We do partner with the DIFC, the Dubai International Financial Center, to register all of our investors as owners in the SPVs that own the underlying properties. And with that does come certain types of documentations and proof of ownership. So every investor on stake gets a share certificate, which is a certificate issued by us that basically proves their ownership in the SPV, which is the company that owns the property. And they'll also receive the title deed for that property, which they can see is owned by the SPV. Those documents we've recently surfaced on our investors' portfolios. So once you go into your portfolio, you can click onto each investment and you can see those ownership documents that prove your ownership in the property. What we're also adding now, which you can see yourselves, if you go to the Dubai International Financial Center's website, you can see through their portal that your name, they actually list the names of each investor in every single property. But we're also adding that link to the portfolio. So in the next couple of days, let's say weeks, you'll be able to see via your stake portfolio inside each investment, you have a link to the DIFC's public registrar, where you can see your name as the public owner, publicly as the owner in that property. So yeah, I think it comes with a lot of documentation, a lot of proof, a lot of security there. So yeah, that's a little bit on trust and safety.
Okay, awesome. Maybe Ricardo, this one's for you. What if someone wants to exit from all properties? Is this possible via the exit window, or is it a different process?
Yeah, I mean, if someone wants to exit all properties, there will be they have different options as we all know. To exit the property, they can exit at the maturity of 5 years, which is what we recommend. If they want to exit early, they will be able to submit as long as the property is eligible, which is as long as the property has been in their portfolio for over 1 year. They can submit all those properties to sell, and they will see some liquidity of those properties. Of course, we cannot guarantee that all the properties will be sold, but again, to what we explained today, depending on the discount level, they might see some speed if that's an emergency lever. They can try to exit those properties, but you cannot guarantee. This is a marketplace, so it comes down to the liquidity levels of that property and to the discount level applied.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no easy way, I would say, to submit all the properties at the moment. We don't see that as a common use case.
Yeah. Okay. Saran, a user is asking, I bought shares from the exit window. Why can't I see the property on the exit window again? They want to buy more shares in that property.
Yeah, great question. So it is likely that the property does not have any more shares available to be purchased. And that's probably the reason why you're not seeing it on the exit window again. If you go to portfolio as well, there'll be a option for you to look if there are shares available to buy in this particular property. But that's most likely the case of what's happening here.
Okay. We got a question from Sami Haroon, a two-parter. So the first part is, can we have quarterly liquidity windows?
Yeah, I can take that one. We would like to have quarterly and then eventually monthly and then hopefully one day always on. It's again, we're a startup working in a very innovative space. So bringing this kind of liquidity and trading angle to real estate, it's not easy, and sometimes the underlying infrastructure is not there. So we're working with regulators, we're working with partners at the government entity level to kind of create the infrastructure that will allow us to open these more and more. Part of that is, say, for example, having digital share transfer process, which we don't have today. So I think, we're very proud to offer this service for our investors, and we think it's very important for the overall experience, and we're proud to be pioneers in it. But we were even surprised ourselves at the amount of manual effort and resource it took from us to be able to operate this offline in the back end. To be able to kind of work with the partners, do all the share transfers, fill in all the documents for every investor, and everything that came with it. So we've been working with government entities, kind of explaining to them how the process went, where we think it can be improved, what we need to do in order to support our business model, which in turn supports the local real estate market. And they've been very open to those conversations, very supportive. So we do have a route to quarterly, and that it just takes longer because it's such an operationally intense and heavy process, and we need to work with them to be able to kind of add more, basically to digitize those processes so that we can then open the windows at more regularly intervals for you guys. So yes, definitely on our roadmap and in our thinking. And like I said earlier, this is an iterative thing for us. Liquidity is not one and done. It's something that we're going to be iteratively working on over the next 2, 3, 4 years.
Mm-hmm. And the second part of the question actually is with regards to the elite membership. So can elite members get a chance to fund properties at a discount for, let's say, an initial 10% before it's open to other investors?
That also falls under something that we can't do because of our regulations. So again, we're highly regulated, and part of that, and I think on the ethical basis as well, we do like to offer the opportunities to everybody, kind of give everybody the same amount of information, give everybody the same opportunity to invest. And what we do for our lead clients is offer more benefits based on their tier. So things like cashback. I saw one question actually asking about cashback. What is cashback? Cashback is if you're a higher tier investor on our rewards program, you'll get 1% or 2% cashback on every investment. Our elite members also get more referral bonus. So again, reach out to our CX team. We're always looking for more ways to reward our elite investors, but it has to be within the scope of the regulations, which prevent us from offering any kind of preferential investment opportunities or access to information just based on somebody's tier. So we're not able to do that.
Okay. I hope that's clear to you now, Sami. Okay. I think, Saron, you wanted to answer one question. What's the minimum buy during the exit window period?
Yeah. So, sorry. The minimum buy is one share. So depending on the share price available, the amount can vary. We can, have a one share investment or up to, whatever the number of shares are available for a given property. So it's completely up to you. Yeah.
Is there a maximum number of shares a buyer is eligible to purchase?
Yeah. So let's say, a property has a 1.20 dirham share price, and it has 10,000 shares available at that share price. You can buy the 10,000, but not beyond that. And if you want to buy at multiple share prices, you need to create separate orders for each share price purchase.
Okay. Okay. I'm just looking through the list of questions we have. Ricardo, were you the one that answered about the 5,000 lot? Because I think we got a follow-up question on that.
Yeah, yes, I can. What is the question?
Let me check.
I was the one. Yes.
If you offer 5,000, Sabada is asking, if he offers 5,000 of his shares, can he end up selling only one share or 1,000, whether to one or to many buyers with no control on his side, or can he sell only the whole 5,000 shares or nothing?
No, he can sell partially. He can sell anywhere between 0 and 5,000.
Okay.
Hopefully he sells some. Most likely he will sell some.
Okay, hope that's clear better now. Let's see. I think we zoomed through a lot of the questions, to be honest. I can see Finn typing to one question as well. Maybe Finn, if you want to answer
I'm
that.
trying to get through them.
What
Yeah, sure. Which one?
what and when will the max discount? I think that's the only thing I caught, actually. Let me scroll.
I'm trying to answer a few in the chat because we don't usually get to all of them.
What and
just a
when?
question about the max discount.
Yeah.
The max discount is 20%. So that's determined by the seller, but we have a lot of liquidity at lower levels of discount as well. So it's just totally up to you and your strategy and how quickly you want to exit the property. But the max is 20%.
Okay. Someone's asking about credit card purchases.
Yeah, credit card purchases are available for professional investors. You need to satisfy a certain criteria to be a professional investor. If you have questions about this, you can reach out to our CX team. But retail investors would only be able to use debit cards, and professional investors can use debit cards and credit cards. But this is something set by our regulator, not Stake.
Okay. Saran, what is the minimum period of investment? Do you recommend to feel the profit and not lose on it in the stake commissions?
So again, when you invest with Stake, we have a lock-in period for 1 year before you can choose to exit your shares on the exit window. But it's completely up to your investment strategy to see how long you want to hold your asset. Of course, real estate is a long-term asset, so we recommend holding more because your rental income will build up and you will hopefully have even higher appreciation in the property value, which will ultimately boost your returns. So if you're not in the requirement to sell, it's really up to your personal investment strategy. But exit windows is a option for you to have that exit if you need.
Okay. And I think there's one question I missed earlier that you wanted to answer. Why are share prices more than 1 dirham?
So the share prices, again, are based on the latest market value of the particular property. So depending on what the property price is, the share price can be, more or less than 1 dirham. So that's, it again depends on a property by property basis, and it's based on the latest valuation that's done by third parties.
Okay. And I think we got an interesting one that has to do with like push notifications. A user is asking, is it possible to have notifications for high ROI properties? They tend to come and go fast.
Yeah, that's a great use case for push notifications, indeed. It's something that we want to develop further, our notification center, so users are informed are in control, are informed of relevant activities in the platform. It's not something like Finn described. It's not something that we included in our V2 of the market, but it's definitely an idea that we would like to explore. We already send push notifications when we launch new properties, and when some properties receive good traction in terms of they're almost ready to close, so users don't miss out. But on the secondary market, it's definitely something we want to be doing more. But yeah, peel your eyes. Maybe in May, when we reopen the market again, we can see some push notifications live.
Awesome. I think we can take like 2 or 3 more questions. There is one about returns for, I think, small tickets. So some users is complaining about the returns. How can Stake improve dividends for such investors?
Yeah, I can take that. I mean, the returns are the same in terms percentage-wise, rather if the investment is small or large. So what we see is users by investing in Stake, having a steady stream of passive income, given we pay dividends every month. So we invite those users that have maybe smaller holdings to make the investment activity a regular activity, let's say on the disposable partial of this disposable income they have per month, and then try to build up their wealth over time. and they will see their returns increase over time. Also, diversification is something that we incentivize a lot. So by default, when a user goes in every month and puts a part of their savings wants to invest in real estate, they will automatically diversify those funds across multiple properties, therefore de-risking their investment strategy.
Okay. I think maybe this is more about like confirming the total volume that we had, I think, in the first exit window. So David's asking, the total sold volume was 2 million dirhams?
Yes, correct.
Okay. We got a really good question. I think maybe, Saron, if you want to take this one. What should a buyer look for in buying when they buy a property on the exit window? He noticed the net yields are a bit lower than new listings.
Yeah, so again, as a buyer, it really again depends on your investment strategy. I cannot really suggest something that works well for someone, but when you scroll through the properties that are available, you can see the different annualized ROI as well as the different yields available for the property, depending on the share price you purchase at. So of course, the higher discount you purchase at as a buyer, it will give you higher yields and higher returns. Since you are purchasing at that discount, you're kind of instantly at a positive return. So yeah, it again depends property by property and depends on the share prices that are available. And again, since once the window's open, it's a constantly changing dynamic. There may be shares available once, that may be sold, there may be new listed shares. So as a buyer, you kind of want to be looking out for those deals and making sure you also get the properties that you like.
Okay. Before we move on to the last few questions, I've been noticing that a lot of you are asking if we're going to be recording this webinar. We are recording it and we will post it on YouTube. And for all the attendees that are currently in the meeting, as well as those who registered for the webinar but weren't able to attend, you will be receiving the link to the webinar by email. So no worries about that. And also, while I'm at it, if you could take like a few seconds of your time to just give us some feedback about how we did today, we would really appreciate it. So if you can scan this QR code, you'll be directed to a very short type form, basically letting us just answering a few questions. So you asked us a few questions. We have a few questions to ask you. Before we close off, I think someone's asking Finn a question. Hi Finn, my question really is related to being the seller. So you confirm the seller still receives the rental income during the transfer process?
Okay, yeah. So I took Cohn's question, I think from the buyer perspective and misinterpreted. So yeah, I was just clarifying that the buyer doesn't receive the rental income until the share transfer is complete, and that might take until January, for example, conservatively. If you're asking about the seller side, I can confirm that yes, you would still receive, even if you sell in this window in November, you will still receive the November rent, you will still receive the December rent, you're still the legal owner of the property until the share transfer is complete. So I think that answers that question. And just to go on the flip side, so that means for you, for the buyers in the audience, that yeah, we are working to speed up the process of share transfer, but we conservatively see that happening in early Jan for people who buy on the November exit window. So you would receive your rent from January onwards.
Awesome. And I think we'll take...
I just want to touch on, one more, Haya, which is there's a couple of questions about, I think it was Mary asked about the specific period of investment. A couple of people asked questions similar to that about how long you should hold it. It really is a personal question. For me, I definitely feel like it's, the experience that we're trying to create is an application of, something in your pocket that you can just deposit money into, that you're not really looking to pull out in any kind of specific time period. We do recommend 5 years. We do have mechanisms to exit after 1 year. We do have some properties that will be exited, like we'll do full exit with, and those can be after 2 years, 4 years, but really, we want to create a product experience where we have a lot of kind of investment opportunities that you'll then reinvest into as well. So we're working on things behind the scenes where we would offer a lot more variety in the kind of investment opportunities that we have on the platform. So really, as long as you're making money on the platform, we hope that you'll keep continuing to reinvest so that there wouldn't be a specific kind of time period that you'd come in and out. So do let us know if you're open to kind of user interviews or feedback on anything that you think we can add. But that's our goal as kind of a product team, is to keep adding things that keep you in longer. And if we can make you money, I think you'll do that. So yeah, that's our goal in terms of investment terms.
Awesome. Do you want to take one more question, or I think we're actually very close to being done.
Yeah, we're at time, but we
Yeah.
can take one more.
How long does the share transfer take approximately?
Yeah, it takes normally about, so the window lasts 2 weeks. This puts us on the 20th of November. Then it takes about 6 weeks. That puts us on the end of December. And therefore, we expect this is of course an estimation, the shares to be completed, the transfer to be completed in January. And what this means is the sellers receive their proceeds and the buyers receive their shares. And like Finn described, from that point onwards, the buyers will be legal owners of the property, therefore benefiting from any appreciation, exits, and of course, monthly dividends.
Okay, I think we're done with all the questions actually, but if anyone else has any more questions to ask, please reach out to us by email. It's right here on the screen, contact@getstake.com.
Great. I would like just to thank everyone that attended. We had a busy session, a lot of attendees, a lot of questions. I'd like to thank my dear colleagues, Finn and Saran and Haya, for running this so smoothly. Yeah, I'll say goodbye for now.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you.